The massive crystal ship floated in the darkness of space like a giant diamond. Inside its gleaming halls, Grand Admiral Kexathera stood before a wall of glowing screens. His blue skin shimmered under the soft light as he studied the images displayed before him. Each screen showed a different view of a small yellow star system far away. "Tell me again about these humans," Kexathera said to his aide. His voice was deep and carried the authority of someone who had conquered many worlds. "Commander." Veltar stepped forward, his thin frame barely making a sound on the crystal floor. He had been studying the human species for many cycles now. "They are a young race, Grand Admiral. They have only just learned to travel between stars. Their technology is basic compared to ours." Kexathera nodded slowly. The Zephyrian Collective had been expanding across the galaxy for over 1,000 years. They had conquered 17 star systems and enslaved dozens of alien races. Each time, it had been easy. Most species surrendered when they saw the might of the Zephyrian Armada. "Show me their ships," the Grand Admiral commanded. Veltar touched a control panel and the screens changed. Now they showed human spacecraft moving through space. The ships looked crude and blocky. They were made of metal and seemed to burn some kind of fuel to move. Smoke and fire came from their engines. "Look at them," Veltar said with disgust. "They still use primitive chemical rockets. Our ships run on pure star energy. We can travel 10 times faster than they can." Other officers gathered around to look at the human vessels. They began to laugh and make jokes about the ugly metal boxes floating in space. "How many ships do they have?" asked Sub-Commander Nex Hill, a female officer with silver markings on her face. "Our scouts have counted less than 200 warships in their entire fleet," Veltar replied. "Most of them are small patrol craft. They have maybe 20 large vessels at most." Kexathera smiled, showing his sharp white teeth. The Zephyrian Third Conquest fleet alone had 400 ships. Each one was powered by captured starlight and armed with plasma weapons that could melt entire moons. "What about their weapons?" the Grand Admiral asked. Veltar brought up more images. "They use kinetic projectiles, Grand Admiral, metal bullets, and explosive missiles. Very basic stuff. Our energy shields can stop anything they might throw at us." The room filled with more laughter. Several junior officers made comments about how the humans were like children playing with toys. "They also use nuclear weapons," Veltar continued. "But again, nothing our shields cannot handle. Nuclear energy is just raw force. Our defensive systems are designed to absorb and redirect any form of energy attack." Kexathera walked to the large window that looked out into space. Beyond the glass, he could see hundreds of Zephyrian warships floating in perfect formation. Each ship was a work of art, carved from living crystal and powered by the heart of a star. Their weapons could fire beams of pure plasma across vast distances. "Why do we want their system anyway?" asked Nex Hill. "Resources," Kexathera answered without turning around. "Their star system has many planets rich in rare metals. The third planet especially has materials we need for our expansion. Plus, the humans themselves might make decent slaves. They seem to breed quickly." Veltar nodded in agreement. "Intelligence reports show they have a population of several billion on their homeworld alone. They could provide workers for our mining operations." The Grand Admiral turned back to face his officers. His red eyes glowed with ambition. "How long will it take to conquer them?" "No more than a few rotations, Grand." "Admiral," Veltar said confidently, "we will drop out of hyperspace at the edge of their system. When they see our fleet, they will surrender immediately. Most species do when they realize how outmatched they are." "And if they don't surrender?" Veltar shrugged. "Then we destroy their space defenses and take what we want. Either way, it will be over quickly." Kexathera nodded and walked back to his command chair. The chair was made from the same living crystal as the ship and glowed softly when he sat down. "Give the order," he commanded. "The Third Conquest fleet will depart for the human system immediately. I want this campaign finished before the next full council meeting." "Yes, Grand Admiral," Veltar replied. He began touching controls on his panel, sending orders to all 400 ships in the fleet. Around the command center, other officers started preparing for the journey. Navigation officers plotted the course to human space. Weapons officers checked their plasma cannons and energy torpedoes. Engineering crews made sure the star-powered engines were ready for the long trip. Within hours, the massive Zephyrian Armada was moving through hyperspace toward the small yellow star that humans called their sun. The journey would take several cycles, but none of the Zephyrians were worried. This would be just another easy conquest in their long history of victories. As the fleet traveled through the strange realm between normal space, Kexathara reviewed the intelligence reports one more time. Everything pointed to a quick and simple victory. The humans had primitive technology, small numbers, and no experience fighting advanced alien races. They have never faced anything like us, he thought to himself. When they see our ships appear in their sky, they will know they cannot win. But Kexathara did not know that human patrol ships had already detected strange energy readings at the edge of their solar system. He did not know that Earth's defense forces were tracking his fleet's approach. Most importantly, he did not know that humans had learned to fight in ways that no other species in the galaxy had ever imagined. The Zephyrian Armada continued its journey toward Earth, confident in their superior technology and overwhelming numbers. Behind them, they left empty space. Ahead of them waited a confrontation that would change everything they thought they knew about warfare in the galaxy. The alarm bells rang through the space station like thunder. Admiral Jake Morrison ran down the metal hallway toward the command center. His boots made loud sounds on the floor as he moved. Around him, other officers and crew members hurried to their posts. Jake had been the head of Earth's space defense for 5 years. He was a tall man with gray hair and old scars on his hands from his time as a young pilot. He had fought in 3 different wars and knew the sound of real danger. The command center was full of people working at computer screens. The main display showed a map of the solar system with red dots moving toward Earth. Captain Lisa Parker met Jake at the door. She was his best officer and had been tracking the alien ships for weeks. "Report," Jake said as he walked to his command chair. Lisa followed him, holding a data pad in her hands. "We lost contact with patrol ships Delta 7 and Echo 4 about an hour ago. Their last transmission showed unknown vessels approaching from outside the system." Jake sat down and looked at the big screen. The red dots were moving fast toward the inner planets. "How many ships are we looking at?" "Long-range sensors count at least 400 contacts," Lisa replied. "All of them are giving off energy readings we've never seen before. The signatures are off the charts." A young technician at a nearby station called out, "Admiral, we're getting debris analysis from the patrol ship locations. The wreckage shows burn patterns consistent with high-energy plasma weapons." Jake felt his stomach tighten. Earth had been preparing for this day since they first left the solar system. Every military leader knew that eventually they would meet hostile aliens, but 400 ships was more than anyone had planned for. "What do we know about their technology?" Jake asked. Lisa touched her data pad, and new information appeared on the main screen. Based on sensor readings, they use some kind of energy-based propulsion system. No chemical rockets or fusion drives like ours. Their ships seem to be made of crystalline materials that conduct energy very efficiently. Weapons? Plasma-based from what we can tell. Very advanced stuff. Our computer model suggests their firepower is several generations ahead of anything we have. Jake stood up and walked closer to the main display. The red dots were getting closer to Mars. At their current speed, they would reach Earth in less than 2 days. "Have they tried to communicate?" he asked. "Not yet," Lisa answered. "But based on what happened to our patrol ships, I don't think they're coming here to talk." The command center became quiet except for the sound of computers and people typing. Everyone was waiting for Jake to make a decision. Earth's main defense fleet had over 100 ships, but they were spread out across the solar system protecting colonies and mining stations. "Sir," said Commander Ryan Burke from the communication station, "Fleet Command is asking for orders. Should we recall all ships to Earth?" Jake thought about this for a moment. If he brought all the ships back, it would take them at least 12 hours to get into position. The aliens would see them coming and could easily destroy them one by one as they arrived. "No," Jake said finally. "If we group all our ships together, we just make one big target for them." Lisa looked confused. Then what do? We can't fight 400 ships with what we have here. Jake walked back to his chair and sat down. He had been thinking about this problem since the first alien contact reports came in. Humanity's ships were not as advanced as what they were facing, but they had one advantage that no other species seemed to have. "We send one ship," Jake announced. The entire command center went silent. Everyone stared at him like he had lost his mind. "Sir," Lisa said carefully. "Did you say one ship?" "That's right. We send our newest and toughest ship to meet them. The USS Defiance." Commander Burke turned around in his chair. "Admiral, the Defiance is still in final testing. Captain Turner hasn't even finished training his crew." Jake smiled for the first time since the alarm started. "Alex Turner is the best captain we have. He fought in the Mars colonial wars and never lost a battle. If anyone can handle this, it's him." Lisa was looking at her data pad again. "The Defiance is definitely our most advanced ship. Triple armored hull, redundant power systems, and the new kinetic weapons package. But sir, it's still just one ship, against 400. "That's exactly what I'm counting on," Jake replied. "These aliens destroyed our patrol ships without even trying to talk first. That tells me they think we're weak. They probably expect us to send everything we have at them." A technician called out from across the room. "Admiral, we have Captain Turner on the comm. He's requesting permission to take the Defiance out of dock." Jake looked at Lisa, who nodded. "Put him through." The main screen changed to show Captain Alex Turner standing on the bridge of his ship. He was a man in his 40s with dark hair and serious eyes. Behind him, his crew was busy getting ready for battle. "Alex," Jake said, "I assume you've been monitoring our situation." "Yes, sir. My tactical officer, Lieutenant Carl Davis, has been tracking the bogies since they entered our sensor range. We're ready to launch." "Good. But I want you to understand what you're up against. 400 ships with technology better than ours. You sure you want to do this?" Alex smiled the same way Jake had. "Admiral, the Defiance was built for exactly this kind of fight. My crew knows what we're facing and we're ready." Jake nodded. "Then you have full authorization. Take your ship and show these aliens that humans don't scare easily." "Understood. Sir, Defiance out." The screen switched back to the tactical display. Within minutes, they could see the USS Defiance leaving Earth orbit and heading toward the red dots on the screen. Lisa moved closer to Jake. "You really think one ship can make a difference?" Jake watched the small blue dot that represented the Defiance moving toward the alien fleet. "Lisa, those aliens think they know everything about us from watching our patrol ships. They think we're primitive and weak. They have no idea what the Defiance is capable of." "And what exactly is it capable of?" Jake's smile got bigger. "That ship represents everything we've learned about fighting in space. It's not pretty like their crystal ships, and it doesn't run on star energy, but it's built like a fortress and armed like a battleship. Most importantly, it has something those aliens have probably never seen before." "What's that?" "A crew that knows how to fight dirty." The Zephyrian Armada dropped out of hyperspace like a school of glowing fish entering dark water. 400 crystal ships appeared at once, their hulls shining with captured starlight. Grand Admiral Kexathera stood on his command bridge and looked out at the small yellow star ahead of them. "We have arrived at the human system," announced Navigator Zexlon from his control station. Kexathera nodded and walked to his command chair. Around him, his bridge crew began their usual routines for entering a new star system. Sensors swept the area looking for defenses. Communications officers listened for enemy transmissions. Weapons officers powered up their plasma cannons just in case. "Report," the Grand Admiral commanded. Commander Veltar studied his screens for a moment before speaking. "Initial scans show minimal activity, sir. We detect several small human outposts on the outer planets, but no major fleet formations." "Any ships approaching our position?" "Just one, Grand Admiral." Veltar looked confused as he checked his readings again. "A single human vessel is moving toward us from the third planet." Kexathera blinked his red eyes in surprise. "One ship? Are you certain?" Yes, sir, it appears to be larger than their patrol craft, but it's definitely alone. The bridge fell silent except for the soft humming of the ship's energy systems. Every Zephyrian stared at their screens in disbelief. In over 1,000 years of conquest, no species had ever sent just one ship to face their entire armada. Sub-Commander, Nexiel spoke up from her station. Grand Admiral, perhaps it's a messenger ship coming to surrender. Kexthara considered this possibility. It would make sense. Most intelligent species realized they were outmatched when they saw the size of a Zephyrian fleet. Sending one ship with terms of surrender was actually quite reasonable. Open communications with the human vessel, he ordered. Lieutenant Sam Rodriguez sat at his station aboard the USS Defiance and watched the alien ships appear on his screens. There were so many of them that the computer had trouble counting them. All. Each ship glowed with strange blue light and looked like it was made of living crystal. Contact, he called out to Captain Alex Turner. 400-plus alien vessels just dropped out of hyperspace at the system edge. Captain Turner stood in the center of his bridge and looked at the main display. His crew was at battle stations and ready for anything. The Defiance was still 3 hours away from the alien fleet, but they could already see the massive formation on their long-range sensors. Any communication attempts from them? Alex asked. Yes, sir. They're transmitting on multiple frequencies. It looks like they want to talk. Alex nodded to his communications officer. Put them through. The main screen changed to show the interior of an alien bridge. A tall, blue-skinned creature with red eyes stared back at them. Behind him, other aliens worked at stations that looked like they were made of glowing crystal. I am Grand Admiral Kexthara of the Zephyrian Collective, the alien said. His voice was translated by the ship's computer and sounded deep and commanding. You will identify yourself and state your intentions. Alex stepped forward so the alien could see him clearly. I am Captain Alex Turner of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered human space without permission. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. For a moment, there was complete silence on both bridges. Then the sound of alien laughter came through the communication system. On the Zephyrian ship, every officer was laughing at what they had just heard. Kexthara wiped tears from his red eyes and tried to speak through his laughter. Human, do you see how many ships we have? You are one small vessel against 400 of our finest warships. Surrender now and we will make your deaths quick. Alex remained calm and spoke in a steady voice. This is your final warning. Leave human space now or we will remove you by force. The laughter on the alien bridge got even louder. Kexthara was holding his sides as he struggled to breathe. Never in his long career had he encountered such foolish bravery. Commander Veltar, he said when he finally stopped laughing. Send 3 ships forward to disable this human vessel. Use minimum force. I want to capture their captain alive so we can study this amazing stupidity. Yes, Grand Admiral. On the tactical display, 3 Zephyrian ships broke away from the main formation and moved toward the Defiance. Each ship was twice the size of the human vessel and glowed with building energy as their weapons charged. Lieutenant Carl Davis watched the approaching ships from his tactical station. Captain, 3 bogies inbound. They're charging some kind of energy weapons. Alex walked over to his tactical officer. Are our railguns ready? Yes, sir. All 6 forward batteries are loaded and targeted. Good. Wait for my command. The 3 alien ships moved closer to the Defiance. Their crystalline hulls pulsed with blue light as plasma energy built up in their weapon systems. When they were within optimal range, all 3 ships fired at once. Brilliant beams of superheated plasma lanced across space toward the human ship. The beams were designed to overload shields and disable engines without destroying the entire vessel. Against most species, this tactic worked perfectly. The plasma beams struck the hull of the USS Defiance and spread across its surface like water hitting a rock. The ship's armor plating had been designed specifically to absorb and deflect energy attacks. The metal layers channeled the heat away from critical systems and radiated it harmlessly into space. Damage report, Alex called out. Chief Engineer Pete Harrison checked his readings. Minor scoring on the outer hull plates. No structural damage. All systems normal. Alex smiled and turned to his tactical officer. Lieutenant Davis, return fire, full spread. Aye, sir, firing all batteries. The USS Defiance's 6 railguns fired almost simultaneously. Each weapon launched a tungsten slug, weighing 50 kilograms at 12% the speed of light. The kinetic projectiles crossed the distance to the alien ships in less than 2 seconds. The Zephyrian vessels had no defense against solid objects traveling at such incredible speeds. Their energy shields were designed to stop plasma beams and particle weapons, not chunks of metal moving faster than most energy weapons could fire. The first alien ship took 2 direct hits. The tungsten slugs punched through its crystalline hull like bullets through glass. The ship's energy core destabilized and exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The second ship tried to turn away but caught a railgun slug in its engine section. The projectile tore through the ship's power systems and left it drifting dead in space. The third ship managed to fire another plasma beam before 3 tungsten slugs hit it at once. The alien vessel simply came apart, its crystal structure shattering into millions of pieces. On the bridge of the Zephyrian flagship, complete silence replaced the earlier laughter. Every alien stared at their screens in shock as the tactical display showed 3 of their ships destroyed in less than 10 seconds. Grand Admiral Kexathera felt something he had not experienced in over 200 years of conquest. For the first time since becoming a military commander, he was afraid. Grand Admiral Kexathera stared at the empty space where his 3 ships had been just moments before. The tactical display showed only debris and fading energy signatures. His red eyes grew wide as he tried to understand what had just happened. How is this possible? He whispered to himself. Commander Veltar was frantically working at his control station, running analysis after analysis on the human attack. His thin fingers moved quickly across the crystal panels as data streamed across his screens. Grand Admiral, Veltar said, his voice shaking. The humans are using kinetic weapons, solid projectiles moving at incredible speeds. Our shields are designed to stop energy attacks, not physical objects. Sub-Commander Nexhill looked up from her science station. Sir, the projectiles were traveling at 12% light speed. That's faster than most plasma bolts. The impact energy was enormous. Kexathera felt anger rising in his chest. No primitive species had ever destroyed his ships. No enemy had ever made him look foolish in front of his entire fleet. The humans would pay for this insult. Signal all ships, he commanded. Full attack. Formation. I want every vessel to target that human ship and fire simultaneously. Reduce it to atoms. Sir, Veltar said carefully, perhaps we should study their defenses first. If we understand how they stopped our weapons, we can adjust our attack patterns. No, Kexathera roared. They destroyed 3 of my ships through luck and trickery. 400 ships firing at once will overwhelm any defense they might have. Throughout the Zephyrian Armada, captains received their orders and began moving their ships into attack positions. The massive crystal vessels formed a huge sphere around the lone human ship. Each ship charged its plasma cannons to maximum power. On the bridge of the USS Defiance, Captain Alex Turner watched the alien formation with calm eyes. His crew was working efficiently at their stations, preparing for the massive attack they all knew was coming. Sir, Lieutenant Carl Davis called out from tactical. All enemy ships are moving into firing positions. I'm reading massive energy, buildups across their entire fleet. Alex nodded and walked to the center of his bridge. Chief Harrison, how are our armor plates holding up? Chief Engineer Pete Harrison checked his damage control screens. The outer hull took some heat from those plasma beams, but the cooling systems are handling it fine. We can take a lot more punishment than that. Good. Lieutenant Rodriguez, send a message to Admiral Morrison. Tell him we're about to test our defenses against the full alien fleet. Sam Rodriguez typed quickly at his communication station. Message sent, Captain. Commander Ryan Burke looked up from his weapons control panel. Sir, should I prepare the nuclear torpedoes? Alex thought for a moment. The nuclear weapons were powerful, but he wanted to save them for the right moment. Not yet. Commander, let's see what they've got first. The Zephyrian fleet finished forming their attack sphere. 400 ships now surrounded the USS Defiance with every weapon aimed at the human vessel. The space around the alien ships glowed blue as plasma energy built up in their cannons. Fire, Grand Admiral Kexathera commanded. Every Zephyrian ship fired at exactly the same moment. 400 plasma beams lanced through space toward the single human ship. The combined energy was enough to vaporize a small moon. The beams converged on the USS Defiance like the fingers of a giant hand closing into a fist. The human ship disappeared inside a ball of brilliant blue fire. Energy readings spiked so high that many alien sensors overloaded and went dark. The plasma storm continued for nearly 30 seconds as the Zephyrian ships poured their fury into the target area. When the energy finally faded, Kexathera expected to see empty space where the human ship had been. Instead, the USS Defiance emerged from the plasma cloud like a metal shark swimming through bright water. Its hull was glowing red-hot, but the ship was still intact and still moving. Impossible, Veltar breathed. On the human bridge, warning lights flashed as systems worked to handle the massive heat load. But the ship's armor had done its job. The layered metal plates had absorbed and redirected the energy attacks just as they were designed to do. "Damage report," Alex called out. Pete Harrison was busy at his engineering station. "Outer armor is at 60% integrity. Internal temperature is elevated but within safe limits. All major systems are operational." Alex smiled grimly. The alien weapons were powerful, but human engineering was better than they had expected. Now it was time to show these aliens what real firepower looked like. "Commander Burke, prepare full nuclear spread. Target the center of their formation." "Aye, sir. Loading tubes 1 through 20. The USS Defiance launched 20 nuclear torpedoes in rapid succession. Each warhead was designed to create maximum electromagnetic disruption rather than simple explosive damage. The missiles spread out as they approached the alien fleet, then detonated simultaneously. 20 nuclear fireballs bloomed among the Zephyrian ships. But the real damage came from the electromagnetic pulses that followed. Waves of disrupting energy washed over the alien vessels, interfering with their delicate crystal-based systems. Dozens of Zephyrian ships went dark as their power cores destabilized. Others lost control of their weapons or navigation systems. The perfect attack formation began to break apart as ships drifted helplessly or collided with each other. "What is happening?" Kexathera demanded as his own ship shuddered from system failures. "Electromagnetic interference, sir," Nexhill reported. "The human weapons are designed to disrupt energy-based technology. Our ships are losing power across the fleet." But Alex Turner was not finished. He walked to Lieutenant Emma Collins at the Special Weapons Station. She had been waiting patiently for this moment, her hand resting on a red control switch. "Lieutenant Collins, is the package ready for deployment?" Emma looked at her captain with serious eyes. "Ready and waiting, sir. All systems show green across the board." Alex took a deep breath. The package was humanity's most secret weapon. Only a few people in the entire defense force knew what it could really do. Today, the aliens would be the first enemy to face it in combat. "Deploy the package." Emma flipped the red switch and pressed her palm against a scanner. Deep in the USS Defiance's hull, a special launch bay opened. A single probe, no larger than a shuttlecraft, emerged and began moving toward the center of the alien formation. The probe looked harmless enough. Most of the surviving Zephyrian ships ignored it as they tried to restore power to their systems. But as it reached the middle of their fleet, the probe began to unfold like a metal flower blooming in space. What emerged was humanity's greatest achievement in electromagnetic warfare. The device was powered by a controlled antimatter reaction that created an energy pulse unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. When it activated, every energy-based system within 1,000 kilometers simply stopped working. The pulse cascaded through the Zephyrian fleet like a wave of death, shutting down life support, navigation, weapons, and propulsion systems simultaneously. In the space of 10 seconds, 400 advanced warships became 400 floating coffins drifting dead in the void of space. Captain Alex Turner stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance and looked out at the field of dead alien ships floating in space. 400 crystal vessels drifted like broken glass in the darkness. Some still glowed faintly from their dying energy cores, but most were completely dark and cold. "Status report," Alex said quietly. Lieutenant Carl Davis checked his tactical screens. All enemy vessels show zero energy signatures, Captain. No movement, no communications, no weapons activity. The fleet is completely disabled. Chief Engineer Pete Harrison wiped sweat from his forehead as he worked at his station. Our systems are cooling down nicely, sir. The armor plating did its job. We can handle another fight like that if we need to. Alex nodded but felt no joy in the victory. He had destroyed an entire alien fleet, but he took no pleasure in the deaths of so many beings. War was necessary sometimes, but it was never something to celebrate. Lieutenant Rodriguez, open a channel to any surviving alien ships. Let's see. If anyone wants to talk now. Sam Rodriguez worked at his communications station for several minutes before shaking his head. I'm getting some weak signals from a few ships, Captain, but most of their communication systems are fried. Wait, I'm picking up one transmission that's coming through clearly. Put it on the main screen. The display showed the bridge of a Zephyrian ship. The crystal walls were dark and cracked. Smoke drifted through the air from damaged equipment. Grand Admiral Kexathera sat slumped in his command chair, his blue skin pale and his red eyes dim. Human, Kexathera said in a weak voice. You have defeated the Third Conquest Fleet of the Zephyrian Collective. This should not have been possible. Alex stepped forward. Admiral, your ships attacked us without warning and destroyed our patrol vessels. We defended ourselves. Kexathera coughed and tried to sit up straighter. We have conquered 17 star systems. We have defeated every species we have encountered. Our technology is superior to all others in this galaxy. Your technology is advanced, Alex agreed. But it has a weakness. You depend too much on energy systems. When those systems fail, you have nothing left. The alien admiral stared at Alex for a long moment. Around him, his bridge crew worked desperately to restore power to their failing life support systems. What kind of species are you? Kexathera asked. What kind of beings fight with such weapons? Alex thought about the question. We're survivors, Admiral. We learned to fight on a world that tried to kill us every day. We learned to use whatever worked, not whatever was elegant or advanced. This is not how civilized species wage war, Kexathera said. Maybe not, but it's how we fight. The communication ended as the alien ship's power finally failed completely. Alex turned away from the screen and looked at his crew. They had just won the most important battle in human history, but none of them looked happy about it. Captain, Sam Rodriguez called out. I'm receiving multiple transmissions from across the galaxy. Word of our battle is spreading through alien communication networks. Commander Ryan Burke looked up from his station. What are they saying? Sam listened to his headphones for a moment. Most of it I can't translate yet, but the computer is picking up some key words. Fear, warning, danger. A lot of species are talking about humans now. Alex walked to the main display and changed it to show long-range sensors. Already he could see other alien fleets changing course away from human space. Ships that had been heading toward Earth were now turning around and leaving the area. Back on Earth, Admiral Jake Morrison sat in his command center and watched the reports coming in from across the galaxy. Captain Lisa Parker stood beside him with a datapad full of intercepted alien transmissions. The Zephyrian Collective has issued something they call a Class X warning about humans, Lisa reported. They're telling all their allies to avoid our space completely. Jake smiled. What about the other species? The Corvan Empire has withdrawn 3 fleets that were near our borders. The Theta Republic is requesting diplomatic contact, and something called the Galactic Trade Union wants to negotiate mining rights. All because of one battle? Lisa nodded. Alex and his crew didn't just win a fight, Admiral. They changed how the entire galaxy sees us. We're not prey anymore. On another part of Earth, Dr. Helen Wright studied pieces of Zephyrian technology that had been recovered from the battle. She was humanity's best expert on alien science, and what she found amazed her. The alien technology was incredibly advanced, but also incredibly specialized. Every system was designed to manipulate energy in perfect harmony. It was beautiful and efficient, but it had one fatal flaw. When the energy systems failed, nothing else worked. Humans had taken a different path. Human technology was crude and brutal compared to alien science, but it was also redundant and robust. When one system failed, 3 others could take its place. When energy weapons didn't work, humans used kinetic weapons. When shields failed, humans used armor. The difference wasn't just in technology, it was in thinking. Aliens had evolved to see the universe as an orderly place where advanced civilizations used advanced methods. Humans saw the universe as a hostile place where survival meant using whatever worked. Days after the battle, reports began coming in from across the galaxy. Alien species were sharing stories about the ship that had destroyed an entire armada. They didn't call it the USS Defiance anymore. They had their own name for it, the Demon Ship. The name spread from species to species, carried by traders and diplomats and refugees. Soon, every intelligent race in the galaxy had heard the story. A single human vessel had faced 400 advanced warships and won. Not through superior technology or greater numbers, but through pure human stubbornness and the willingness to fight dirty. Captain Alex Turner read these reports in his quarters aboard the Defiance as his ship headed home to Earth. His crew had become legends without trying. They had proven that humans belonged in the galaxy not as victims, but as predators. The final report came from the edge of known space. An alien merchant ship had encountered a pirate fleet that was planning to raid human colonies. When the pirates learned that their targets were human worlds, they immediately canceled their attack and fled to another star system. The merchant captain sent a message that was translated and forwarded to Earth Defense Command. It was simple and direct. We do not fight the humans. They are demons who wage war with metal and fire, and they are absolutely terrifying. Alex closed the report and looked out his cabin window at the stars. Humanity had taken its first real step into the galaxy, and that step had shaken every civilization within 1,000 light years. The age of human expansion was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same.